Today we're previewing the running back class in the 2013 NFL Draft. And as usual, but even more than usual, we're talking mostly about guys who will be selected in the draft's final 2 days. For the first time in a half century, we might not hear one running back's name called in the first round. And only a half dozen or so running backs could go in the first 2 days. If there is a back who will go in the first round, it will be Eddie Lacy of Alabama, who in his only season as the Crimson Tide starter ran for 1,322 yards and 17 touchdowns. There's a reason he had just 1 year as the starter. The guys in front of him, they went on to become first-round picks. Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson have gone in the first round of the past 2 drafts.
At a school like Alabama, you get talent year in and year out. So, I mean, even when one leaves, the next person right behind them is going to be just as good, if not better.
If Lacy's to become the 3rd straight Alabama back to go in the first round, he will have to overcome a hamstring injury that has so far kept him from working at the Combine or Alabama's Pro Day. NFL personnel people have to go back to Tuscaloosa when Lacy is healthy to see him run. He should be able to overcome that. So at least one running back has gone in the first round of the past 49 drafts. Lacy is almost certainly the only hope this year. That doesn't mean he's a surefire NFL star or that there aren't other quality running backs available. One of those that could go in the second round is North Carolina sophomore Giovanni Bernard. He led the ACC in rushing, scoring, and all-purpose yards, and his 16-yard punt return average led the nation.
The biggest thing for me is being able to do everything. You don't want to limit yourself from just being able to run the ball or just being able to catch the ball. You want to be able to do everything from run blocking to pass blocking to running the ball, catching the ball, punt return, kick return. You want to be able to be that guy.
Bernard tore his ACL in 2010 and missed 2 games in 2012 with lower leg and shoulder injuries. So, of course, those injuries are being mentioned a lot in the lead up to the draft.
My biggest response is, I'm still there. I'm still on the field. I'm still, producing, and things like that are going to happen. People are going to have nicks and bumps, and it's just a matter of, playing through it and really getting back on the field as soon as possible.
UCLA's Jonathan Franklin impressed last week at the Bruins Pro Day after clocking a 4.49 second 40-yard dash at last month's Combine. He could jump Bernard and be the second back selected. Then there's Joseph Randall. He was a workhorse for Oklahoma State, carrying the ball 274 times and catching 28 passes. He led the Big 12 in rushing and decided to come out early because he figured he could stand out in the relatively pedestrian running back class. There is some thought Randall wore down late in the year, though, and that's troublesome, and that he'd be asked to do even more in the NFL. They play more games in the NFL. But he has added some bulk, up to 204 pounds on his 6-foot frame.
I definitely feel like I'm the most versatile back in this draft. I'll say that to anybody's face. I feel like that's just how it is. I'm going to feel like that. Hopefully I can get other people to believe that way too after watching film and seeing me out there at the Combine.
NCAA career rushing touchdown leader Monty Ball is a likely 3rd rounder. He definitely helped himself with a fantastic pro day. The questions had been about his speed after a productive career that saw him score 83 touchdowns, and he blazed his 40. He also did well catching the ball at his pro day, which is something he also needed to show as he looks to make the jump to the NFL. Now, there are a few other running backs that could go on day 2, and history says there will be about a dozen more taken in the final 4 rounds. And among those, a few will end up being 1,000-yard rushers, supposed surprises for their teams. While Lacy could run the streaks of backs taken in the first round to an even half century, there is a reason no more than 3 running backs have been taken in the first round since 2008. Among those taken in the first round the past 4 years, Ryan Matthews, Donald Brown, Noshawn Moreno, C.J. Spiller. It's just an awful big price to pay for many reasons. Chief among those is that a good running back can be had later in the draft. Thanks for joining me to examine the 2013 draft's running back class. On Thursday, we'll look at this year's tight end crop.